Hey everybody. Today we're going to be talking about suffixes. Depending on where you're at in your skill work, you may not be um, needing all of these suffixes, but we're going to go through them and come along with us for the journey. So, first and foremost, what is a suffix? A suffix is a letter or a group of letters added to the end of a word to make a new word. So, a lot of times I have friends who are reading sight words and there's the suffix added onto it, but maybe they aren't paying attention or they don't know the suffixes. And so, for example, our words like play, full, playful, our friends might read it just play. So, knowing our suffixes and when to use it is super important to make sure that you're reading accurately and decoding new and unknown words. So, let's take a look at some of them. So, it just shows us a little bit about where we would find a suffix. And a suffix is going to come at the end of a word. Sometimes you'll see a prefix, like we have here, and those are at the beginning of the word. And then we have our root word, and that's just our base word or the word that we would read just by itself. And then we're looking today at suffixes. So maybe we have like a word like comfort. We could change it to comfortable. If you had a prefix at the beginning, you might see uncomfortable. So once you start to really know these suffixes and prefixes, then you're able to decode words much more quickly because you're looking for the parts that you already know. So let's focus just on suffixes. Let's keep going. So first and foremost, we have some of our basic ones, which is est, ed, and ing. We also will see s for s. We use er or when we want to say more of something, like small to smaller. We have est, which is est, when we want to talk about the most. So you might have big, and then you go to biggest. It was the biggest elephant. You're going to see ed a lot of times. And ed actually can make 3 different sounds depending on how we use it. I have another video on the 3 different sounds of ed, which you may need to watch if you are unfamiliar with those. But that happened, ed means it happened already. So like buzzed, the flies buzzed past us. It already happened. It can make different sounds, like jumped can make that T sound, and it can also just make the ed sound or the D sound. Watch my video for how to know when to use them. And then we have ing, which is ing, and we see that one a ton, and that's for when it's happening now. Like we are eating right now. We also see adding s to a lot of our words. And sometimes, and actually most of the time, we just add s if we want to talk about plural or more than one. Every now and then, though, we need to add es to it, like foxes. That gets an es. So when would you use that? So you use es if the word ends with s, ch, ch, sh, sh, or x. If that's the case, then they get es. For most words, you just add an s, though. So you have 1 bug, but now you want to write 2 bugs. Just gets an s. But if it ends in ch, sh, s, double s, x, or z, then you add es, like ostriches. Okay, so we have some more suffixes. We have full, ness, ly, and less. We see these a little less than our ing, ed, s ones, but they're still good ones to know. So we have full, like colorful, and that just means full of. We have ness, it's a state of being, like kindness. We were offering someone kindness, so it's what you're doing. Ly is how it's done. So slowly, she was moving slowly down the road. And less, that means without. So fearless, they were without fear. Just a couple more examples. We have that ly, ness. We haven't seen meant or yet. So meant is the action or process of something. So like giving a payment, it's an action of paying someone. And we also have or, like a visitor, someone who visits. All right, there's so many different suffixes. Remember, you're going to see those at the end of a word. So again, we have less, full, ly. One we haven't talked about yet is able, A-B-L-E. And it's something that you can do, like it's growable. And then we've talked about ly, but we haven't talked about e or that y, but it means full of, like snowy. You'll want to watch my video on the sounds of y, because y can make the sounds e or I, depending on how many syllables are in the word. So if you're a little bit confused on when to use that, watch my video on the sounds of why, and that'll clarify that for you. And then we've already talked about nests. You can see there's so many of them. So you'll want to be familiar with all of these. So as you're reading your new and unknown words, all you really have to decode is maybe your root word. And maybe even then it's not something that you really have to focus too much on. It's just looking for the parts that you know. Here's some more. These are some more of our common ones. We haven't talked about all or ant. So like frontal or nasal, an ant like pleasant or observant. Again, those are ones you're not going to see as often, but it always is helpful when you know parts of words to help yourself decode. So those are our suffixes. We're going to find them at the ends of words. And when you know those parts of words, you can help yourself. So hopefully that was helpful for you. You should be getting some work from me to help you practice your suffixes.